story today. It's the season of rejigs, and healthcare giant Fortis is the latest to announce its plans to rework the entire business holding structure. Now, the group, its diagnostics and hospital business into two separate listed entities. Varinder Bansal, who broke that story, joins us now with the CEO of Fortis Healthcare, Bhavdeep Singh. Over to you, Varinder.
Thank you, Mr. Singh, for joining us. First of all, it's a complex transaction, but can you please simplify for us the entire structure, the three-way step for this demerger?
So, as a starting point, we have two listed entities. We have the Fortis Healthcare business, which is the hospital business and the diagnostic business. And then we have a Fortis Muller business, which has a diagnostic business and one hospital in Chennai. There are multiple steps here. One of the things that's happening is that the hospital business in the Fortis Muller entity, which is a traded, publicly listed entity on the stock exchange, the hospital business is being sold to Fortis Healthcare. So the entity now houses merely a diagnostic business and some investments. The SRL business, as it gets demerged from the Fortis Healthcare business, is going to be moving from the Fortis Healthcare entity into the erstwhile Muller entity, which will eventually be named SRL Limited. So now you have two entities. You have the Fortis Healthcare entity, which houses the Fortis Hospital business, plus the Fortis Muller Hospital, which gets transferred over. You have the Muller entity, which is going to be referred to as the SRL Limited entity, which will now house the diagnostics business and some existing investments that were there. From a share perspective, what's going to happen is that every Fortis shareholder, for every 100 shares they have, they will receive 98 shares in the new entity, which is what I've just referenced as the SRL Limited, the erstwhile Muller entity. They will receive 98 shares for every 100, 0.98 for every one share. The SRL business, as you might be aware, 56% is owned by Fortis. The balance 44% is owned by other investors. The balance 44 investors are going to receive 10.2 shares for every one share that they have in the SRL business. So again, two or three different things happening. You have the Muller Hospital business being sold to Fortis Healthcare. The erstwhile Muller entity will house the pathology, the diagnostic business, and the SRL business that comes from Fortis will sit in that entity as well. Every Fortis shareholder, for every one share, will receive 0.9 shares, 0.98 shares in the new entity. The balance investors in SRL, the 44%, for every one share, will receive 10.2 shares in that new SRL entity as well.
Just focusing on the new entity, which will be SRL. Can you run us through the new equity, the number of shares, and debt, if any, on this entity?
There is no debt there. There was no debt in the existing entity that was there. There's no existing debt in the SRL business that's going to get transferred over as well. So I think they start off on a very solid footing, zero debt, a fantastic brand, and the opportunity to become an independent entity and do great things and continue to grow as we go forward.
Is there any advantage of reverse merging the diagnostic business into Muller? Or the case could have been you demerged the SRL business and listed separately and nothing to do with Fortis Muller. I'm sure there might be some advantage for reverse merging it.
This does a couple of things for us. One is, again, from a simplification perspective, we're sticking to two entities. We bring the hospital. We're buying the Muller Hospital, bringing it into the Fortis entity. So I think this is just, these transactions are complex enough. They involve enough time, enough diligence to get them done. I think we've just tried to take a simple approach that brings the entire diagnostic business together and brings the hospital business together. And in retrospect, I think it's been a wise path that we've chosen.
The current market cap of Fortis is nearly 9,000 crore. So are we right in assuming that the valuation of SRL could be anywhere between 4,500 crore to 5,000 crore under this complex restructuring?
I think that the valuation piece will come as we work through this. This transaction is going to take anywhere between 9 to 12 months to complete. I think we'll be a lot wiser, a lot smarter about this as we go forward. But I don't think at this time it would be wise to comment on what the valuation might be. Suffice to say that if you look at the two independent businesses, in light of what we've seen with other diagnostic businesses, the value that they've created, I think suffice to say that for a shareholder, I think what's going to end up is that you're going to have a solid business in Fortis. I think you're getting a fantastic opportunity here with 0.98 for every one share you have. I certainly think that going forward, it will unlock value in multiple ways. And again, I think the valuation piece we'll be able to discuss as we get further and deeper into the understanding of this.
The promoter holding doesn't change pre-restructuring and post-restructuring in both entities?
Not significantly. It actually goes down a little bit, but the promoter shareholding, there's no significant shift. But if anything, it goes down slightly, but nothing that dramatic or significant.
There's still some debt which is lying on the hospital business. SRL will have no debt, as you mentioned. What is the update in terms of debt reduction in Fortis Hospital?
Look, for the size business we have, you're talking about a business, approximately 4,000 crore. Our debt levels are they're perfectly acceptable levels. Would we like to bring it down? Sure, everybody'd like to. I think that as time goes on, we're looking at monetizing, if there are asset opportunities, monetize assets as we can to bring the debt down. But we're not uncomfortable with the debt level we have. But I think as we go forward, we'll seek opportunities to monetize wherever we can and bring it down. But I don't expect it to go down dramatically. I think it's at a healthy level, and it works well for our business.
That was